What if the reason you're not consistent is because you keep chasing motivation, not discipline, not time, not even your habits? Motivation. We've been sold this idea that if you just feel motivated enough, everything will fall into place. You'll wake up early, you'll eat clean, you'll work out daily, you'll finally become that person. But let me ask you something honestly. How many times have you felt motivated and still didn't stay consistent? You started strong. You promised yourself, this time is different. And for a few days, maybe even a week, it was. Then slowly, it faded. And suddenly, you're back to where you started. Not because you don't want it, but because you couldn't sustain it. So here's the uncomfortable truth. Motivation is not the problem. Depending on it is. In this video, we're going to break down the real psychology behind motivation, what it is, why it fades, and what actually keeps people consistent long term. Because once you understand this, you stop starting over, and you finally start building something that lasts. Relatable personal experience and emotional connection. Let's step into a familiar moment. It's late at night, you're lying in bed, scrolling through your phone. You see someone's transformation, someone who got fit, someone who built discipline, someone who became everything you told yourself you would become. And something inside you clicks. You feel it, that sudden rush of clarity. You tell yourself, enough is enough. Tomorrow, I'm changing everything. And for a moment, it feels real. You imagine waking up early. You imagine yourself working out. You imagine discipline becoming your personality. And then, morning comes. The alarm rings. And suddenly, that version of you feels far away. You hit snooze. Just 10 more minutes, but those 10 minutes turn into a missed workout. That missed workout turns into guilt. And that guilt turns into self-doubt. And now instead of thinking, I'll try again, you start thinking, why am I like this? That's where most people get stuck. Not in laziness, but in this cycle. Motivation, action, drop, guilt, restart, repeat. And the more you repeat this cycle, the more it starts shaping your identity. You don't just feel inconsistent. You start believing, I'm an inconsistent person. But here's what you need to understand. You're not inconsistent. Your approach is. Because you've been trying to build consistency on something that was never meant to last. Scientific research and psychological insights. Let's break this down scientifically. Your brain is not built for long-term motivation. It's built for efficiency and survival. Motivation is largely driven by dopamine, a neurotransmitter responsible for anticipation and reward. But here's the key insight most people misunderstand. Dopamine is not about reward. It's about expectation. When you start something new, like a workout plan, your brain gets excited about the possibility of change. That's why day one feels powerful. But once the action becomes repetitive, the brain reduces dopamine output because it's no longer new. This is why the first workout feels exciting, the 10th feels normal, the 30th feels like effort, nothing changed externally. But internally, your brain stopped rewarding you the same way. Now here's where consistent people are different. They don't rely on dopamine spikes. They rely on neural efficiency through habit formation. When you repeat an action consistently, your brain starts forming neural pathways, making the action easier over time. This process is called automaticity, meaning you don't need motivation anymore. The action becomes part of your routine. Even deeper than habits is identity-based behavior. According to psychological studies, behavior that aligns with identity is far more sustainable than behavior driven by goals. For example, goal-based thinking, I want to lose weight. Identity-based thinking, I am someone who doesn't skip workouts. This shift removes negotiation, because now it's not about how you feel, it's about who you are. Paradoxes and contradictions. Now here's the paradox that changes everything. Motivation gets you started, but consistency is built when motivation disappears. Sounds strange, right? But think about it. If you only show up when you feel like it, you're training your brain to associate action with emotion. So when the emotion is gone, so is the action. Another contradiction, the more you rely on high motivation, the more inconsistent you become. Because high motivation often leads to unrealistic plans, extreme routines, unsustainable effort. You go all in. Then you burn out. And then you quit. But consistency isn't built in intensity. It's built in repeatability. Doing something simple every day will always beat doing something extreme occasionally. Here's another paradox. Discipline is easier than motivation. Motivation requires emotion. Discipline requires decision. And decisions can be trained. Emotion cannot be controlled the same way. So the real goal is not how do I stay motivated? It's how do I make showing up non-negotiable? Empathy and understanding different perspectives. But let's be real for a moment. Not everyone struggles with consistency for the same reason. Some of you are not lazy. You're tired, mentally tired, emotionally drained, burnt out from life. Some of you are juggling work, family, stress, expectations, and trying to add self-improvement on top of that feels overwhelming. Some of you have started multiple times, and each time you stopped, it hurt a little more. So now, starting again feels heavier. That hesitation, that fear of failing again, that's real. And it deserves understanding, not judgment. Because consistency isn't just about behavior. It's about your environment, your mental state, your past, experiences, your self-image. If your system is too hard, you'll avoid it. If your expectations are too high, you'll break. If your inner voice is harsh, you'll quit faster. And that's why self-compassion matters. Not in a soft, passive way, but in a strategic way. Because when your brain feels safe, it's more likely to repeat behaviors. When your brain feels attacked, it shuts down. So instead of asking, why can't I stay consistent? Try asking, what is making consistency hard for me? That question changes everything. Actionable solutions and reflection. Now let's turn this into something you can actually use. Here's how you build real, long-term consistency. 1. Shrink the habit. Stop aiming for perfect routines. Start with something so small, it feels almost too easy. Instead of, work out for 1 hour, start with, show up for 10 minutes. Because consistency doesn't grow from intensity. It grows from repetition. 2. Remove decision fatigue. Plan your actions in advance. Decide when you'll work out, what you'll eat, how you'll execute, so when the moment comes, you don't think, you act. 3. Build identity, not outcomes. Stop focusing on results. Start focusing on identity. Say, I am someone who shows up daily, even if it's small, even if it's imperfect. 4. Create a minimum version. On your worst days, what's the smallest version of your habit? 5 push-ups, 5-minute, walk 1, healthy meal, that's your backup system. Because bad days don't break consistency. Skipping completely does. 5. Track proof, not progress. Instead of tracking weight or results, track consistency. Mark every day you show up, because results are delayed. Consistency is immediate. 6. Follow the never miss twice rule. Missing once is normal. Missing twice becomes a pattern. So if you fall off, your only goal is come back immediately. Now ask yourself, where have I been relying on motivation? What is one small habit I can commit to daily no matter what? That's your starting point. Let's bring this home. Motivation is emotional. Consistency is structural. Motivation fades. Systems stay. You don't need to feel ready. You don't need perfect energy. You don't need the right mood. You need a system that works even when you don't feel like it. Because the truth is, the version of you that you admire, the disciplined one, the consistent one, they don't feel motivated every day. They just show up anyway. And over time, that becomes who they are. So stop chasing motivation. Start building identity. Start building systems. Start building proof. Because consistency is not built in big moments. It's built in small actions, repeated daily. If this resonated with you, share it with someone who needs this reminder. And in the comments, tell me, what's one habit you're committing to, even on your worst days? Because your transformation doesn't start when you feel motivated. It starts when you decide to continue without it.